We'll just have a little chat about this before I carry on. Um, so I laid high value in here. And just like I threatened, I was going to bring some light coming from the left to right between this here as well. I'm going to do it one more time, and that'll be down here. It will probably be slightly lower value than this one, and slightly lower chroma as well. We'll go more towards the ultramarines. I might even add a little bit of burnt sienna to it, but to bring light into the water. The temptation is to put light all over the place in the water so that I can very safely park these rocks in place, all with low value dark colors. You know, toned down chroma. But I'm going to keep the light here and very interesting here, right? Because again, this is our sort of focal area. And I'm going to lower the chroma. I'll keep the value up in a lot of places, but I'm going to lower the chroma and drop the value as we come down here. But it's all going to stay sort of, yeah, mid-tones, mid-value, cooler temperatures. Because once I get to this, there's such a large mass of rock here. It's such an important part of the painting that I'm going to want to meet the light on this water, mid-tone light, with a very dark edge on these rocks. Then, but only a little bit of a dark edge. Then as we work our way down more into the meat of these rocks, I'm going to have to raise the value. However, there will be no direct sunlight shining on these rocks. I've already done that. All the sunlight's here, and it'll be somewhere in the sky as well. But this all has to be in the shade, but still high value. So far on the rocks, I've used a lot of, actually I've used strictly ultramarine blue and burnt umber and ultramarine blue and white. Okay, there are some variations. There's the odd addition of alizarin crimson or burnt sienna or yellow ochre, but really just a little bit, trying to keep the changes subtle. But still some change so that we don't end up with a band of rocks here that are all the same. Also varying degrees of white. But they're all fairly warm relative to the painting. All of the colors on here are fairly warm. Now I'm going to have to go cold. So I'm going to, not completely, but for the most part, get rid of using ultramarine blue as my blue. I'm going to be using cobalt blue and raw umber as the mother color. I know I did a video, actually it's probably a couple of years ago by now, just trying to explain a mother color, the base from which you work, and you can bend it this way or that way, bend the color this way or that way by adding different hues to it, you know, hints of it here and there, and by changing the values. Anyway, this is going to be very blue. So what we do have here, even though, you know, it's such a long, narrow painting, we have this plane. What sharply differentiates this plane from this plane is the fact that this is catching direct light. This is in the shade, and we can accentuate that with a slice of light. Then we have this plane. What differentiates that is that this plane is warmer, with the exception of this rock. That's fine. This plane is warmer than that. That's not just a little bit lower value, it's a colder, there's more ultramarine blue in here, it's a colder, shadowy look of rock, which really helps to make the higher values and the higher chromas here jump out, right? Then we have this slice, right? It's like an indexing line, in a sense. So it makes it very clear that we've stepped from here, down to here, one more time, down to here. Then more light again, reintroducing that. So it's a good way of bringing the flow of a painting down towards its base. Even though it's such a long, skinny painting, it's important that you have some sort of connective tissue between top and bottom in more than just one place. A more of a square layout, it's much easier, but something wide and narrow, yeah, you need to cheat a little bit. I have, as I mentioned before, higher chroma, higher values here. Way over here, I might lay a little higher values up in the sky. I may bring higher values down here. I don't know yet. I'll deal with that when I come to it. But you need that flow. Like, you have to. Your eye has to go somewhere. It can't just go, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. The music of the visual experience will be lost. Okay, I don't need to talk like that. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know and explain these things. We have warm rocks. We're going to cold rocks, cold bedrock here now. I'm not, because we're very much in the foreground, I'm going to use the biggest brush that I can, much bigger than what I've used so far. And not too many small details. Really, really avoid those details. Take, the bits of, here's a bit of grass. Here's more grass, grass, or lichen, or moss, whatever you want to call it. But I'm not going to paint each individual blade. I can paint groups of blades. I can paint a bit of mass where the light catches the grass more, and other areas where it doesn't. But staying away from individual leaves, blades, twigs, all that stuff, forget about it. Forget about it! The painting's about this. That's how it has to remain. This is only supportive, but it still has to be entrusted. I always find that a challenge on a larger painting. But I have a plan, at least. And a plan is a start. We'll talk to you soon.